What's up guys, Motivated Jay here, back with Quarantine Correctives, and today we're going to talk about how to improve thoracic mobility. Now, when I talk about thoracic mobility or thoracic, what I'm referring to is the area in between your abdomen and your neck. This area has a handful of movement patterns, but today we're going to focus on its rotational capability. Healthy movement of the spine is very, very important across all populations. It plays a huge role in an athlete's rotational power. It can be restricted by a lack of movement, right, or inactivity. It can be restricted by moving in the same plane, the same movement pattern every time that you are active. So for example, always moving forward and backward when you're exercising, or moving in the sagittal plane with movements like deadlift, squat, bench press, lunge, without actively rotating can cause this limitation. I've said it multiple times and I'm going to continue saying it because of how important I believe it is, and I guess it's kind of underrated as well. Everything stems from the spine. Now in this case, the thoracic spine attaches to your rib cage. Your rib cage protects your heart and your lungs. So what happens if we have a limited thoracic spine? We can end up having breathing limitations or breathing issues because of the restrictions that your spine puts on your rib cage. What other problems will an immobile spine or immobile joint cause? Compensations, right? This is a trend that I'm hoping you guys are catching on to with these videos. Once you have an immobile joint, you'll tend to compensate with other joints. Okay, so in this case, if you have an immobile thoracic spine, you'll tend to compensate with your lower or lumbar spine, which ends up leading to lower lumbar pain. Now, your lumbar spine is supposed to be able to rotate, but it's not meant to rotate nearly as much as your thoracic spine is, right? So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the first activity. What we're gonna do is, as always, actively stretch, right? So we're gonna get down on the ground and we're gonna start with a brettzel, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna lay on my side, and I'm gonna go top leg, flex that hip, right? So my knee's gonna be at the hip height of my hip, and I'm gonna put my opposite hand on top of that thigh, right above the knee, okay? And so this hip should be at 90 degrees, and that leg, that knee should also be at 90 degrees, okay? Now, with the bottom leg, that knee should be right beneath my hip, and that leg should also be flexed, and I should be grabbing it, again, with that opposite hand, and this is the starting point. All right, so the goal of this is to separate my upper body from my lower body by rotating. And what I want to do is push that top knee down to the ground, and at the same time try to rotate to the other side with my upper body, right? So essentially try to touch the ground with the top knee and that top shoulder, okay? So I'm gonna hold this position for 35 seconds, but as I'm going, I want to breathe out. And if you see, every time I breathe out, I go a little bit lower. I'm gonna keep breathing out, trying to get as far as I can until I can't get any farther, and then I'm gonna keep that position until the 35 seconds are done, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now I'm gonna make sure I do both sides. Now, normally we would do both sides 2 times. I recommend doing 2 sets of 35 seconds each side. But just for time purposes, I'm just gonna do one side, and we're gonna go ahead and jump into the active part, right? So now, during this exercise, it's gonna be the half kneeling rotation. I'm gonna look for something that's gonna be able to stabilize my knee or prevent my knee from moving with my upper body, right? And the goal out of this is, after mobilizing the joint, now we're gonna go ahead and activate these trunk rotators, or these rotators of the thoracic spine, right? So, lower body is going to be in a similar position from the brettzel. The up leg should be at 90 degrees, right? Knee, height of the hip, foot right beneath the knee. Bottom leg, the knee should be right beneath the hip, and both legs are flexed, okay? Now, I'm going to stay nice and tall, chest up, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rotate. As I rotate, I'm going to breathe out. I'm going to take my time to rotate, right? And I'm gonna get to a position as far as I can after I empty out my whole breath, and then I'm gonna count 3 seconds, hold that position for 3 seconds, and then I'm gonna slowly come back, okay? I'm gonna show you what 1 rep looks like. I'm gonna start with my hands above my head. You can also do this right here in this position, arms crossed in front of you. It's a little bit easier here, so if this is the first time you're doing it, I'd recommend doing this before you go up to the top position, okay? So I'm gonna make sure I'm neutral, everything is good. This couch actually gives in a little bit. I'm gonna do my best to keep my knee in one position. So it's gonna look just like this. Big breath in, I'm gonna breathe out as I rotate. One, two, three, and slowly come back. That's one rep. Now you don't have to count out loud. You actually want to avoid talking at the end position, but I'm just counting out loud so you guys can follow what I'm doing. I'm gonna show you guys one more time. Big breath in, and then breathe out. And go back, right? I wanna make sure to do both sides. I would recommend doing 3 sets of 4 repetitions each side, holding 3 seconds each repetition. Now, what do you want to look out for? You want to make sure that you're not going too fast, right? You want to make sure that you're taking your time through the whole range of motion. So going through the full range of motion. You want to make sure that you are breathing appropriately, breathing out as you rotate. You can breathe in as you're coming back or breathe in right before you rotate again. And also not holding your breath. You want to make sure that you're standing tall, right? And you're not flexing or extending the spine. You want to stand tall the whole time and really focus on that tall rotation. You want to focus on not compensating with your hips or turning your hips with the upper body. You want to make sure that you're not doing too many repetitions because you'll end up sacrificing the quality of the repetition, okay? So 3 sets of 4 reps each usually does the trick, and I feel like that's enough. If you get enough rest in between each set, you should be fine. Okay, now, why do you want to take care of this? The thoracic region in your body is what connects your lower body to your upper body, your lower extremities to your upper extremities. So we've talked about how your body works as a system, right? You heard coach tell you to throw that ball or throw that punch using your lower body or your legs. And that's because these movements are full body movements. You generate power from your foot going all the way up your leg, through your middle and your spine, going all the way up into your shoulder, out to the fingers on the ball or your fingers clenched in that fist. That's where you produce the power. So when you have an immobile thoracic spine or immobile thoracic region, that rotational capability is limited, which means that when you go to throw that ball, that energy that you produce from the ground up gets blocked right here, and now you have less power transferred over, so less power going out into the ball, and all the power is coming from this area, right? The extremity. You need that power, right? You need that power to be able to compete. So what do? You get into the gym and you start strengthening your shoulder, you start strengthening your arm because you feel like that's the issue, or you just simply ramp up the intensity of each throw or each kick. Now what happens? Shoulder and elbow injuries, knee and hip injuries, right? So think about it like this. Let's say you have a bat. It's broken in half, but you decide to put it together using tape, right? So what's gonna happen when I take that first swing? Either that ball is not gonna go very far, or that the head of the bat is gonna fall right off, right? Now, that ball not going very far, that resembles the lack of power. And with the head of the bat breaking off, that resembles an injury. So keep that in mind next time you're training. We're gonna call it there for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did like the video, go ahead and like the video. Share with somebody that you think this would help. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And as always, have a great day and stay motivated.